From 1820 to 1860, industrialization gained a foothold in America, stabilizing the economy for years to come. Industrialization was occurring in Europe, but was slow in America due to the lack of capital, labor, and consumers. In America, the population was expanding west, where land was cheap and the population was growing rapidly.
The U.S. in the early to mid-1800s. In 1790, only Philadelphia and New York had over 20,000 people. By 1860, there was 43 cities with 20,000 inhabitants. The growth was due to growth of families, tremendous childbirth, and immigrants coming in large numbers from Ireland and Germany.
Workers could not compete with the British, who were able to mass-produce clothes and textiles much cheaper. Rapid growth of population provided manpower to work factories. Immigrants also brought new ideas and technology, which helped America change from an agriculture to an industrial nation.
From farming to factories promoted growth of city populations. New England states grew the fastest because the soil was not that great for farming and they had population to work factories. They also had access to the ocean for trade and used water power in their factories. Southern states concentrated on cotton farming and the use of slaves.
Samuel Slater was the father of the factory system in the U.S. He was a skilled mechanic who memorized British plans for textile machine and built a machine to efficiently spin cotton. Slater's efforts were assisted by Eli Whitney, who made cotton gin to replace cotton picking. The Slater machine increased local production of clothes out of cotton.
As factories were getting started, the owners used the putting out system. Previously, many people had produced items in their home or in small shops to sell by themselves. In the putting out system, the merchants contracted with workers to produce goods for them to sell. They would provide the material and then pay the workers for each piece so that they could sell the final products. The putting out system was cheaper for the merchants and owners compared to hiring workers themselves and maintaining factories.
A big boost to industry came with the concept of interchangeable parts, which helped mass production. Interchangeable parts were used in the production of watches by Howard, Davis, and Denison. Their company produced over 40 million jeweled watches, compasses, and clocks over the next 100 years.
Eliza Howe invented the first sewing machine in 1846. It was good, but could only sew in a straight line. Isaac Merritt Singer improved on Howe's invention and produced a better sewing machine which allowed the mass production of clothes by making sewing easier.
Francis Cabot Lowell and his partners in Boston developed what they considered to be the best design for factories. They were rectangular buildings that were long and narrow. This allowed all operations for clothes and production under one roof. It had special lighting that helped the workers, and the design also allowed for easy expansion.
And for factory workers resulted in wage slaves. Working conditions were not good and many factories had children under 10 years old working. Women also entered the workplace because their work at home had been displaced by the building of factories. The cottage industry was the process of making goods in individuals' own homes before the Industrial Revolution. Farmers would make extra goods to be sold to retailers for surplus profits.
Working conditions in factories were horrible. The owners became wealthy from the profits, but the workers did not benefit. They worked very long days and were mistreated and abused. Despite this, their pay was low.
The factory was worked by the Lowell girls. The owners hired unmarried women ages 15 to 35. They forced them to work long hours and they had a curfew at night. These workers were watched by matrons who took them to church and basically controlled their lives. This made the business very successful, but was not a happy life for the women. The Lowell girls had to conform to high standards for behavior and cleanliness. Now, you want to save that? Population growth in the